What is up, ninjas? My name is Samworld, and today we're going to be diving into the world of Camelphat to learn how to make melodies like their track Breathe. Which is a top-of-the-line production. I always love to make tutorials on music that I'm currently listening to on repeat, and this is one of those tracks. For the past few weeks, I've been listening to it in the car, driving fast, saying the police. But today we're going to be learning how to make melodies in that style, guys. Now, the melody is very trancey, and it incorporates a technique called the Gallops. And Gallops is pretty simple. It's kind of like having pop, pop, and then you hit a higher octave version of that note you're on, or a harmonic counterpart of it like they did in trance, which is like pop, pop, pop. You can do a lot of various differentiations with it, guys, but that's the key to that melody, why it sounds so good. And it's very, very simple. The melody is harmonized really well by the bass. If we hear the melody by itself, it doesn't sound that great, but the bass progression is what also makes it. Everything in the track makes that melody just sound great, and that's what we're going to be looking at today, guys. Now, as always, guys, if you guys want to support the channel, you can head over to evilsounds.com, where you can find a lot of my sound design work. Make sure to check it out if you want to support my channel, guys, and let's get straight into this tutorial. Alright, guys, so welcome inside of Ableton. I've done a faster creation of this track for us to use so that we can make our own melody in the style of Camelphat, learning how to make those type of melodies. Now, the purpose of this tutorial is not to copy them, but to get inspired from the song if you really like it and make something in your own style of it using similar techniques that they are using. So I've done a quicker creation so that we can have kind of like the same atmosphere that they have. The drums are not perfect, the sounds are pretty close, and this is how it sounds like, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, I fucked up there. That's there. So pretty much that is the melody, guys. Now, by itself, the melody sounds a bit kind of like, if you heard it by itself, you're like, it's whatever. The sound is just a basic saw running through a low pass being opened up, and it's made interesting by the ping pong delay or delay and reverb. Definitely put in the work to get a simple saw to sound more unique using effects, guys. That's one of the things you can see a lot that the progressive house guys are doing. And when I say progressive, I mean like the Anjuna Deep and all, and the Prida kind of label stuff. The next thing is that the melody is accompanied by a rolling bass, which is the same programming except it's being played lower and a little bit punchier with an ARP at 116. But that gives us this kind of nice vibe, and together that's where the magic happens. The bass harmonizes the melody really well. Okay, so a lot of melodies are very repetitive, where, you know, you have that same melody repetition. Now, this is considered a modified repetition. What that means is that we add this modification at the end. It's kind of like the same rhythm as here, but you switch it up. So here you can see he's hitting that A, and then we go up to that octave of an A. But then here is where the change happens. We still hit that F again and F, so we're still doing that octave up. But here is where it changes down to E, and then instead of hitting that E, we hit a high C, and that's the melody there. So we can do something similar to this, and the way we can do this, guys, is first create a chord progression or create a bass progression, because at the end of the day, the bass progression is going to be the bottom note of your chord progression. Now, when it comes to this, if you can see, we're in the key of A minor, and we're not starting on that 1. And I find a lot of times if you want to make emotional melodies, emotional tracks, emotional progressions, it's wise not to start on the 1. Other popular spots to start on are maybe the 3, the 6, which is going to be the F here, or going to be the D. Now, the reason the F and the D work for me, and this is the way I understand it, is just because that chord, that chord, the F major chord here, you can see F, A, and C, works really well. The A is in it, so it's a harmonic counterpart, as I like to say. Maybe it's not the right term, but that's the way I understand it. And the D also has that A part of the triad, so that's going to work there. The C, well, simple, the A minor chord has a C in it, and then you can also say, oh, you can start on the E. I have yet to try those out, though, but that's the way I understand that. So usually F or D are good starting points if you want more emotionalness. I've studied a lot of the songs from Dimitri Vangelis and Wyman back in the day, and a lot of their tracks, very emotional. Some of my favorite melodies and chord progressions didn't start on the 1. They do have some that start on the 1, but a lot of times I find them starting on the 6. All right, so from here, you can see they just work their way up, and that's pretty much the track. So we're going to make a progression right now. Let's see what sounds better. That works, so we'll go with that. Now, what I'm going to do is just copy this down here. So by now, you guys should know how to make chords, hopefully, if you watch my channel, so you know these are the chords. And you can use this to kind of help you in determining what notes to play if you want to do sort of like a modified melody where we do the same tricks as Camelphat, but instead we can change this top melody around. You know, so that will give you a different melody than they have, but it's still the same techniques. We could do that as well. The key thing here is we don't want to use the same rhythm as they do, so we can kind of switch it up a bit. It doesn't have to be that rhythm. This rhythm is very driving because it's kind of like a rolling bass in a way. But the idea is to do that trance whole thing like I was explaining. And you can do various rhythm variations with that. So let's see, where's my damn chord progression? Let's bring it back, okay? So let's get straight into it, guys. So what I'm going to do is just zero that out. So I know we're starting on the F here, and the reason we start on that one is so we can harmonize the A melody, if my melody bumps around A a lot better. So we can maybe go with, and then maybe we can go maybe to like a high A. And then maybe a so that sounds, that last one sounds a bit rushed, so maybe we can try this. Let's see, maybe maybe do, yeah, we could try that. That works. Okay, so there we have that A, and then here we move to a high A. So here we can choose to leave the A here, or the same. We can choose to maybe move this guy up to a C. We can choose to move it up to an E if you want, which will also work. Okay, you can leave the melody on the top the same if you want, or you can leave it on the A as well. But here at the end, we can choose to, again, we have that D, so you can see A is part of it. So we can still stay on that A because it's stable. That just means the melody is playing majority of the time the notes that belong to a note in the chord progression. Or we can choose to go down to a D or to that F. So for instance here, if I want to add variation, I can maybe leave A, go down to that F. And then there we go, I believe to an E. So I could hit that E or I could hit a G. It's totally up to you. So why don't we do the same? We'll go G and then an E. And it's a bit too much movement, as you can see, so that's not really working out for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the approach of just being a little bit more simpler with this. Here we go to that D, so we're going to go to that. Let's add change to our top melody. In fact, I think maybe I can add something like. Cool. Maybe here we don't have to start on that A. In trance, they like to start on the fifth. So that's going to be that E up. In fact, we can work our way up maybe like this. A, C. And maybe we could try maybe like that, or. And then here, that F, where we can maybe do something different with it. So we do see that A, and then maybe we can work our way down to a G, or go back up to a C. Nah, I think A would work there. Maybe this too. Here we do need that change, I think. So maybe keep it like there. Even maybe an A. Here, let's try that. Maybe even like just keeping it simpler. And then here maybe adding the, going back up to 8. So hopefully you guys get the idea there. It's all about the gallops and creating that melody. You can do a lot with that though, like make it a lot simpler. It doesn't have to be like fast and driving. You know. And then, you know, you can switch that rhythm up, have a lot of fun with that. You know, I think this is fucking cool. Okay, the other thing too, guys, is that, you know, once you make this rhythm, you can also turn it into sort of like an arp. So that could be like... And, you know, it's like you can go so many ways with this. But the idea is that the gallops, you can switch the top melody around. You can follow the Camelphat way where it's a lot of it is just octave up, octave down, and then a modification at the end and vice versa. But hopefully this inspires you guys to create these gallops, to do these kind of things. And hopefully it makes sense with the chord progression. Again, remember, you can go various ways with this. And as long as it sounds good, it sounds good. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Just, again, when you're making it, it's all about the vibe, guys. Have fun. That is the most important thing. If you get frustrated, take a damn break. Go walk, go take your dog for a walk, and that's gonna be it, guys. Sorry for the USB interruption, by the way, but I hope you guys learned a few things, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. Take care and peace out.